Hallelujah. 1 Corinthians 10 and 21 says, "You cannot drink the cup of the Lord's and the cup of the devil's. You cannot be partakers of the Lord's table and of the table of devils." Very interesting subject, because a lot of Christians, they try to live in the world, and they live in church, and the Lord is saying that this thing should not be so. If you are saying that if a man is a murderer, it's okay, then you're partakers of what he's doing, is what the Bible is expressing here. If you have a plan to support the morality of murderers, then you are part of what they're doing, and you're guilty. Your fingerprints is on the axe, and you're just as guilty as anybody else around there. Okay, and this is what we want to take a look at today. You know, we are, through our hearts, we're called to come out of the world. We are no longer a person that has a sin nature. Well, we have a sin nature, but our hearts is not fixed for sin. You know, we should have some kind of remorse when we sin, and this is what God is telling us. You can be a pastor of a church and have blood on your hands. You can have a great ministry, and you can be ahead of hundreds of people that do ministry every day, that are getting people saved, but you can still have blood on your hands by being partakers of this thing that the Bible, we're going to read here in the Bible, is about 5 or 6 verses. But now this is worth listening to, because lets us know where God says our heart should be. Now, I want to read this many verses because I want you to know this is not just something that I've made up. It's not something that I have seen one verse and took it out of context, but no, this is God's will for the lives of Christians, where He thinks we should be in our walk with Him. We're starting at verse 17, 1 Corinthians 17 down through 23. And this is what it says: "For we, being many, are one bread and one body, for we are all partakers of the bread." You know, that bread which is Christ. You know, the Lord took this bread and broke it and said, "This is my body which is broken for you." That's what it's talking about. It says, "Behold, Israel after the flesh, are not they which eat of the sacrifices partakers of the altar? Are they which eat of the sacrifices, are they not partakers of the altar? What say I then? That the idols is anything, or that which is offered in sacrifice to idols anything?" He's saying it's not the fact that this idol means anything, okay? But it's the fact that you're being a partaker of that, which is offensive to God. "But I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils and not to God. And I would not that ye should have fellowship with devils." That's what it's doing. It's causing us to have fellowship with evil. Just like when you put a tattoo on your body, you know. Now, some tattoos are evil because of the thing they represent. A skull and a crossbone, for instance, is a sign of death. God doesn't want us to associate our nature with death, but He wants us to associate our nature with life. And this is the same thing. It's what we are associating ourselves with. Verse 21, "You cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of devils. You cannot be partakers of the Lord's table and of the table of devils." Verse 22, "Do we provoke the Lord to jealousy? Are we stronger than He? All things are lawful for me, but all things are not expedient. all things are lawful for me, but all things edify me not. And I'm going to go back and look at verse 22. We want to talk about that for a minute. Do we provoke, the Lord to jealousy, or are we stronger than He? Meaning, is our agenda more important than the Lord's? Can we cause our ways to become more important than the ways of the Lord? And can we cause things to come out to a better way if we do things our way rather than the Lord's way? I want to say to you today that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life, and no man come to Him, to the Father, except through Him. And we, as Christians, we follow this way, the way of the Lord. Man, we can't win souls by doing it the wrong way. See, that's the same thing the devil tried to do when he got kicked out of heaven. He says, I will ascend above the throne of the Most High. And see, this is exactly what we're doing. We're putting our agenda above the things that God is doing. God who is perfect, and we who are far from it. So I just want to encourage you today, lean not to your own understanding, but in all of your ways acknowledge Him, and He will give you the desires of your heart if we do that. So I thank you again for being with me today on Crossing the Middle Ministry, and be with me tomorrow, for another, well, not tomorrow, but Monday, for another great subject. God bless.